A man with a low number of past partners expresses that he prefers a partner with a similar background, and people on the internet start berating him and putting words in his mouth that he never meant. Oh, you think she's unclean? You are insecure. You are not a real man. Seriously, forget these people. Anyone can date whoever they want and can reject others for any reason. They are not obligated to give you a relationship or affection. Story 1. The internet has become incredibly toxic for anything that concerns intergender relations. It is a permanent gender war where men are shaming women and women are shaming men. I have no idea when exactly it happened, but I am noticing it lately and it is ridiculous. Just do not engage with those types of people, and definitely do not treat their opinions like they have any worth. Story 2. I have found it depends on which corner of the internet you are in. Do not let the opinions of internet strangers upset you too much. On top of that, I think you will always get more reactions from people who disagree with you strongly than from people who agree or are indifferent. Story 3. My favorite part is when women, and even feminists themselves, are given a pass to have the preference of wanting to date traditional men. But when it comes to men wanting to date traditional women, we are told about equality, toxic masculinity, and how bad gender roles are. This is coming from a guy who doesn't even prefer traditional women and has no problem with untraditional women. Story 4. I just took a look at your post history. If you want to enjoy life, you're going to have to start taking an interest in other things. Engage with the world. Get good at something, use it to help other people. You can get paid for it. Enjoy life, take an interest in things for what they are. Story 5. If men say they want someone who is in shape, they get derided for fat shaming. Meanwhile, almost every woman on dating apps can put their preferred height, and that's totally fine. Oh, and if you're under 5'10", don't even bother. I've actually seen that, as though that's totally fine. Story 6. Reddit is a very misandrous place. Look at the way Reddit treats and talks about male victims of domestic violence. They are angry at them for even existing. I've done experiments where I would copy and paste a post from Am I the A-hole, swap the genders, repost it 2 months later, and get polar opposite results. People aren't judging who the a-hole is based on the circumstances, but by gender. Story 7. I have noticed it is more socially acceptable for women to body shame men. Men get criticized for wanting to date slim women, but it is perfectly fine for a girl to reject a guy because he is short. Story 8. Because for decades, women have been celebrated no matter what they do, while men are criticized no matter what they do. Because of this, many women act like spoiled teenagers all their lives with the emotional control of a 5-year-old. We can see the same in men who were spoiled by single mothers. Delusional deluxe. Story 9. You are insecure. This says more about them than it does about the person they are trying to insult. Everyone has insecurities. Insulting someone for it is just straight-up indifference. Story 10. A man with a low number of past partners expresses that he prefers a partner with a similar low number of past partners. Well, that's often left out. It's a guy who wants someone who hasn't been with many others. When they include context suggesting that he's also like that, the responses tend to be nicer. That, or there are some random bitter people fighting their cultural war. Story 11. I saw a trend on TikTok the other day about women losing their minds finding out that their bisexual male significant others had a sexual history with other men penetrating them in some way. Universally, they were disgusted and lost all attraction for their man. It seems like everybody, no matter who their partners are, would prefer that their partners have had fewer men inside them. Story 12. A man with a low body count expresses that he prefers a partner with a low body count. Nobody is arguing with a virgin wanting to date a virgin, or someone with a few sexual partners wanting to find someone with a few as well. It's when guys who are more than willing to sleep around try to say that women shouldn't because body count matters. It's hypocritical at best and truly ignorant at worst. Story 13. Women's preferences get praised on the internet? This is definitely not true. You see men getting upset at women wanting a 6-foot-tall man all the time. Story 14. You only get pushback like that when your preference in women is something along the lines of, I like young girls with big breasts who don't think too much. Women do get a lot of pushback when they go full, I want a guy who makes $750,000 a year and is 6 feet 6 inches or taller, has a large member, and loves my kids too. Incidentally, please do not ask what my preference in women is. Story 15. How are you going about expressing that you want a woman with a low body count? Because going on to videos of women and trying to shame them for having had sex isn't the same as innocently stating a dating preference. Those responses you say you're getting make me think you're being rude in someone's comment section and getting mad at the backlash. Story 16. There's the saying, don't ask people things that you wouldn't ask of yourself. So if a man has a low number of past partners, it's perfectly reasonable to ask for a woman with a low number of past partners. Story 17. You make a valid point. Very valid. If a woman says, I don't want a guy with a high body count, everyone is like, cool beans. Nice self-worth. You go girl. Story 18. Man, nobody cares about your preferences for dating. People get upset when you're shaming a woman for her body count, which is not the same as choosing not to date someone. Story 19. In my personal opinion, I think it depends on why someone wants someone with a low body count and how they view and treat people with a high body count. If you are religious or hold a set of values and do not like casual sex, perhaps you are even a virgin who wants someone with the same realm of experience as themselves. Whatever the reason is, if you lose respect or treat someone poorly because they have had a lot of sex, that is not okay. If you think a woman loses value because she has had a lot of sex, that is not okay. That is misogynistic and reducing a person to their genitals. So the way I view it, it is perfectly valid to want to be with someone who shares the same values and experiences. What is not okay is treating people disrespectfully because they do not hold the same values and worldview as you. That is my 2 cents. Edit. Realize this was Ask Men, not AskReddit. I am a woman. Oops. Still going to leave this here though. Story 20. If I was one of those Generation Z influencers who rely solely on viewership and advertisements to make money, I would sweat bullets night and day about saying the right thing or avoiding saying the wrong thing. Since I don't get paid anything by the internet, I just say my piece, regardless of karma downvotes, go outside, touch grass, and live my best life based on my preferences for women. Story 21. It's mostly because of the double standards that society portrays. The human need to seek validation of their opinion despite saying or doing what's right. Story 22. Of course, you will prefer a woman with a low body count. If woke and other trash movements don't like it, you can tell them to forget off. Usually, people who do what you wrote are some mentally unstable old women who barely had any sex in the last 2 years. You can easily laugh at them and watch how they get more annoyed. Story 23. Because social media is very female-centric, anything there is built to please women and exploit men's weaknesses. A random average girl often has more followers than a random average boy. Girls will follow other girls, and boys will also follow girls in hopes of forming a romantic connection. This is our primary weakness and a significant source of frustration. Men giving their attention for free in the hopes of establishing relationships. With this basic foundation set up, a woman, just being a woman, will have an audience that will engage with whatever they share just because they are women. According to the female audience, women can't go wrong, and according to the male audience, disagreeing with them could mean missing out on romantic opportunities. Women have much more power online by exploiting basic male weaknesses. Most cancellations happen because a woman decided to initiate them. If you get canceled, many women will dislike you just because someone spoke negatively about you, which, in turn, means missed romantic opportunities. There you have it. A platform is built to please women at all costs. Anything that might go against women is deemed cancelable, and actions will be taken accordingly. Remember, women can't go wrong, so their preferences are empowered. If a man rejects a woman for any reason, it is perceived as the man's fault for not appreciating her. I've said many times before, if you're a man and have no business to promote or no interest in engaging with women on social media, you should delete any kind of social media. It's a waste of time full of negative content. Story 24. I'm not sure why all of these people think that. I personally think it is all the people with a high body count in this situation. They just all gang up on this one poor guy, and once they're finished, they move on to the next. I've seen texts where this guy gets asked if he is tall because the girl doesn't date short guys. The guy then asks the girl if she is fat because he doesn't date fat girls. She then immediately goes on to lecture him about human rights. Ugh, society. Story 25. In my opinion, it's partly because for a long time, and still today in many parts of the world, women weren't allowed to have preferences. They were just married off by their fathers to whoever he wanted, mostly just someone with a good income, and they were badly shamed by society for things like not being a virgin. It wasn't too long ago that things changed in the West, and since many women are still affected by this around the world, there's a different kind of reaction to their preferences. Story 26. Women. I want a 6'2" guy who earns six figures, has a huge demeanor, owns his house, and has multiple cars. Fine. Men. I want a woman who doesn't sleep around or have an OnlyFans. Oh my gosh, you misogynistic, insecure jerk. Story 27. Every time I hear anything about body count, it's men complaining about women. It's always the same stupid rationale. So, of course, there is going to be pushback by women because they are sick and tired of hearing this. Story 28. That's called stuff I don't worry about. The internet is full of people who are being influenced about what is right and wrong, and I just choose to dismiss the idea entirely. It is what it is. Story 29. Insecurities, because the moment they admit that something is a valid criterion to judge someone, they will discover that the criterion lowers their value. Consequently, they will do everything in their power to ban it. At least that's how I understand it. Story 30. Broadly characterizing what happens on the internet in this way is just never accurate or reasonable. Do you really think that women's preferences in men don't get demonized on the internet? Do you really think that men never express preferences on the internet without getting demonized? Or is it that you think the balance of demonization is unfair in the little corner of the internet you hang out in? How unfair? By what metric? Have you researched it? Can you offer any sort of evidence? Low evidence, whiny posts like this clog up the forum and benefit no one. Story 31. What I have come to believe is women think men are lesser humans who exist only to serve them, kind of like the master-slave mentality. To justify slavery, black people were thought to be subhuman. To justify resource extraction of unsuspecting men or manipulating men through sex, you have to think he is subhuman to justify it. Story 32. Women's preferences get demonized at every turn. Look at our /dating advice. No matter what a female original poster posts, the first comment is always something along the lines of, you need to lower your standards, or it's your fault because you only go for attractive assholes. Story 33. Same with age difference. If a 40-year-old man is with a 25-year-old woman, it is because she is emotionally unready and being taken advantage of. But if it is a 40-year-old woman with a 25-year-old man, it is you go girl. Living it up. Story 34. Hear me out on this one, because it's kind of a broad point original statement. I don't think partner count is specifically about sexual preference. I think it's more about behaviors that embody everything that men resent about modern women. I think a man could overlook a partner count if he somehow had crystal ball knowledge that the woman had zero entitlement, actually respected each man she was with, and didn't take any of them for granted, and just somehow ended up in a position where she has a high partner count through very little fault of her own. What men really see, though, when they see a high partner count is a long trail of men who got disposed of. They see men who risked rejection, probably spent money, and tried to make something happen. They see a woman who didn't really value any of it, took their considerations, and moved on to the next guy. I think partner count is like 20% a sexual preference and like 80% the man looking at the woman seeing him as disposable. Retroactive jealousy is a thing, but I think the main issue with partner count is two competing views on how to see men. The high count woman sees them as opportunity providers to move through. The man who wants a low count is not okay with this. Women want to protect their interests, and actual partner count is kind of a misrepresentation. I think this is also why men will be okay with a high partner count if it's easy intimacy. He's not bothered by the experiences she's had, and he knows hygiene is important. He's just not willing to be next on that list. Story 35. This is easy. It's the ultra super duper so woke that they never sleep types and the echo chamber circle jerk of Reddit where there are only the oppressed and oppressors. That is, heterosexual white men are horrible and evil, and everyone else is perfect angels that can never be wrong. If you disagree, you are a racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, white supremacist, nationalist, Nazi, or fascist. Story 36. At the end of the day, if your preferences are normal and you did your part by being clear about them and seeking the right place to find your partner, you will have a high chance of finding her. The internet might not be a suitable place for your criteria, and you will always get attacked by someone. So I suggest having a better treatment and attitude that suits you towards these discussions. Story 37. I agree with your post title. I often find that if I'm among women and express a preference, for example, I don't like the fake tan or big eyelashes look, I'm met with the response, well, she's not doing that for you. No, I didn't expect that. Yet, when women talk about male preferences, it's met with praise for the woman knowing her worth. This is obviously generalized from my experience, yet I have heard others echoing the same sentiments. I'm wary of the example you jump to in your post. Having concerns about body count from either side isn't necessarily a bad trait, but does stem from insecurity. I respect someone's right to bring up the conversation, but it will impact my view of their self-respect.